Good morning, Mr. Barnes.
Good morning, sir.
We're live already. It's 8:12. I've got Tyrese Brown in the waiting room, and I've got Mike's note 10, which I think is probably Michael Redmond. Good morning, Mr. Redmond. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Good morning, sir. Get ready and situated here in just a moment. Let me bring in our next customer. We start at 8:15. It's 8:13. Thank you for logging in a timely manner. Today is Tuesday, the 22nd of June. We got notice yesterday, Mr. Barnes, that we are to immediately bring all courts to phase 4. So we're able to begin in-person court proceedings. We'll be able to begin jury trials and open the court. I'm not sure what that means yet for our Zoom process. The Supreme Court is encouraging us to do as many things as we can by Zoom for convenience of the parties. I also don't know what it yet means for YouTube, whether we will be required to continue to broadcast on YouTube, whether we'll be allowed to, told not to, don't know yet. Probably will come up to individual court choice. Anyway, that's all yet to be determined, but we are on the verge of reopening our courts again, which means in the old days, each of you, Mr. Redmond, Mr. Brown, Mr. McGee, you would have had to drive over here to the courthouse and transact your business. But here, we're still able to do it by Zoom, and I appreciate each of you being here promptly. Some of these are written under state statute, and some of them are written under city or village ordinance. Mr. John Barnes is the Three Rivers City Attorney, and he graciously always appears at these arraignments, which is a great help to the court. County prosecutor is elected not to do that for the time being, but we're going to go ahead and get started. The first person to log in was Tyrese Brown, file 211237. Mr. Brown is charged with no valid operator's license and speeding. I think 37 and a 25 or something, but I think they wrote 30 and a 25. I looked at Mr. Brown's driving record, Mr. Bush. Mr. Barnes, he doesn't have anything bad on it. He just doesn't have a license. He has no negative on his driving record, nothing. He does have an ID, but he doesn't have a driver's license. Mr. Brown, you're charged with no operator's license is a misdemeanor. It's punishable. Mr. McGee, I'm going to put your screen blank while you're doing your hair. You're sideways, you're on a YouTube live feed, and we'll come back to you in a minute.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, Mr. Brown, you're charged with a misdemeanor offense called no valid operator's license. It's a misdemeanor punishable by up to 90 days in jail and a fine of up to $100 plus points too. And the other charge is a civil infraction, which is punishable normally by a $90 fine. Civil infraction is punishable by a fine only. Mr. Barnes, is there any plea offer?
Yeah, if he pleads to the no valid ops, we dismiss the speeding charge.
That would save you $90. Normal fine for no ops is $100 plus the state costs of $125. and I would give you 30 days to pay that or more if you need it. Do you understand the charge?
Yes, sir.
How do you plead to that charge?
Definitely guilty.
All right. Dismiss speeding for plea to new ops. All right. Let me tell all of you this. When you do enter a plea to a criminal charge, you give up your right to have a trial in front of a jury. There'll be no trial in front of a jury or judge if you enter a guilty plea. If you had a trial, you'd have the right to take the witness stand and testify on your own behalf, but you don't have to because you have a right not to testify. And if you did not wish to testify, the judge or jury could not hold your silence against you. You would have a right to have any of the witnesses for or against you subpoenaed to come to court so they could be questioned under oath. And you would have the right to be presumed innocent if and until the state was able to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand all that, Mr. Brown?
Yes, sir.
Other than what I said here, did anyone promise you anything to get you to plead to this?
One more time.
Did anybody promise you anything other than the fact they'll dismiss the speeding charge?
Oh, no. Actually, I didn't even know the speeding charge was being dismissed. We actually already had it paid. So,
Oh, you already paid it?
yeah, I wasn't aware or told that it was being dismissed.
Well, he just now
We had
agreed
it
to do that.
today.
I don't know if I can tell that. Let's take a look. If you did, I'm gonna. Can anybody tell me whether Mr. Brown has paid his speeding ticket? We're gonna undo it if you did. All right, were you driving a car in Three Rivers on June 15th?
Yes, sir.
Where were you going?
I believe we were taking my aunt home.
Whose car were you driving?
It was mine and my wife's.
All right, now I see you're standing in front of a car now. As I indicated, you have no baggage on your driving record.
Right.
You just never got a license. What happened?
Well, I would probably have to put that on myself and my mother. Was pretty much just home all the time to take care of the little sister while mom was at work. So I never.
How old are you now?
I'm 20.
All right. Well, this might affect your ability to immediately get a license, but I would encourage you to start what you need to do to get it. Fine is $100. I wish I could tell whether the speeding ticket was paid or not. I can't tell from. Let me look in here. Yeah, I can find it.
I do have an appointment tomorrow to get my permit.
Okay, very good. All right. I hope this doesn't jam you up.
As do I.
$100 fine, $75 crime victims' rights fee, and a $50 state minimum fee. That's $225. It's due by July 31, 21. The speeding ticket is dismissed. We'll have to find out where that is. If you paid $90, how did you pay it? Online?
Yeah, I think we were given a link to go through on the.
When did you do that?
Like the same day.
Well, all right. I gotta find that $90. I could simply apply it to your fines and costs.
That would work.
Well, it'll save you 2 points, and it's a moving violation that might make it easier for you to get your license.
Understand.
All right, I'll find it. Anyway, for the time being, you owe $225 by July 31st. We will make sure, well, we'll find out what happened with that speeding. it's going to be dismissed, I can transfer the $90 to this charge, or it may be simpler for the clerks to simply send you that money back, and then you can pay the $225. All right, good luck with your appointment tomorrow.
Thank you. Now you said that's due July 1st?
31st.
31st, okay.
All right, and are you still at Steiner Drive?
No, I am at 508 North Prospect, Sturgis, Michigan.
All right, you're good to go, Mr. Brown. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
Good morning, Mr. Stickley.
Morning, Judge.
We're next going to deal with Michael Redmond. This is file 21-1040, People versus Michael David Redmond. Mr. Redmond, you got charged with the same offense as the last guy, operating with no valid license, sometimes called no ops. It's a misdemeanor, punishable by up to 90 days in jail and a fine of up to $100 plus costs. It does carry 2 points on your driving record. They say that this happened here in St. Joe County on May 18th. Now let's take a look at your record. You didn't show up back on June 15th, so we reset it. You're almost you had some driver responsibility fee issues and some other stuff. Normal fine, as you heard, for this is $100 plus costs. You don't have to plead to this if you don't wish to, but how do you plead to the allegation that you were driving the car here in St. Joe County on May 18th?
Plead guilty to driving the car.
All right, where were you going?
Actually was headed back home.
From where?
My friend Travis's house.
Now, you heard me go through the advice of rights with Mr. Brown. Do you understand you have those exact same rights?
Yes, sir.
You don't have to plead to this if you don't want to.
Yes, sir.
Right. How come you never got your license?
I actually am confused by that because I had applied for it before, and they said that the Secretary of State over in Sturgis said I needed to bring in a copy of my birth certificate. I applied online for my birth certificate, and I'm actually still currently waiting for it to be mailed to me because
where were you born?
In Niles, Michigan.
Okay. I don't know the answer to that, but you had a little baggage and you don't have a license. The Chief Public Defender, Mr. Stickley, has joined us, but this just sort of seems like it is what it is. I'm just going to give you the same fine I gave the last guy and encourage you to continue to try to get your license. Are you working somewhere now, Mr. Redmond?
Not right now. I'm actually unemployed right now, waiting because my fiance has to have her spine fused, and I need to be home to help take care of her for at least a week.
All right. Well, can you pay a $225 fine by the end of July?
Yes, sir.
All right. If you need more time, contact the court, Michael. The goal is to get the fine paid, not to put you in jail. And stop driving till you get this squared away, all right?
I have. My fiance has been driving since, so.
All right. Did you have any questions?
No, not really.
Are you still on 7th Street?
Yes, sir.
All right, 7th Street is the one that doesn't go all the way through to the end because of the Lions Club. Is that, you live on the dead end part of 7th Street?
No,
Oh,
I
that's
actually
7th, yeah, 7th Street is
on the other side of town.
yeah, got it. All right, you're good to go, Mr. Redmond. I encourage you to get your license and, okay, I just got a breakdown. All right, thank you.
All right, so it's a $250 fine by July 31st.
225 by July 31st. Need
220.
more time.
Okay.
Contact. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right, Leslie, we'll turn your video back on. Are you done doing your
Yes.
hair?
Yes.
All right. All right, this is Leslie McGee. Travis McGee still in Cedar Key. Leslie McGee from Benton Harbor got the same charge as the last two guys, operating with no valid license. This is also here in St. Joe County. You posted, I believe, a $300 cash bond. The allegation is that on March 15th of this year, you were driving a car here in St. Joseph County with a suspended license. You didn't show up for your arraignment.
What arraignment?
We issued a warrant. Then you didn't show up again. Then you got arrested on June 9th. And did you post a $300 bond?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, the last two guys got a $100 fine plus costs. And you heard me go through the advice of rights also. How do you plead to this charge?
Guilty.
All right. Did anybody threaten you to get you to plead to this?
No.
Promise you anything?
No.
Where were you going?
I'm driving.
Well, you live over in Benton Harbor. You got friends over here or something?
I got a new car. I just bought a vehicle. Testing out the wheels.
Okay, well, let's take a look at your driving record. These records are very similar. You only have 2 points, and you are suspended for some Berrien County stuff. And you cleared your failure to pay. What do you do over there, Mr. McGee?
I work. I work
Where do you-
I work at Walmart.
Okay, very good.
Night shift, so I didn't get that arrangement. I looked at my email today. I sleep all day.
Okay. Well, we'll get you done here and you get back to bed. Now, this might affect your ability to get your license back. You've got some baggage on there now, some things you need to do with the Secretary of State. You had some unpaid tickets, but it looks like you got them paid off. So let me ask you once again, other than what I said here, did anybody promise you anything to get you to plead to this charge
No.
or threaten you?
No.
All right. There's a $100 fine, a $75 crime victims' rights fee, and a $50 state minimum fee, $225. I'm looking for this bond money. Well, I got an email, it doesn't say anything. I don't see any bond money in here. Let me look. Where did you get arrested? In Berrien County or here in St. Joe County?
I got arrested.
Which was at Walmart?
Yes.
That's a drag. How long were you in jail?
About 13 hours. About 13 hours and 30 minutes.
Well, I can't see anything that says you posted the bond. Where did you go to jail? In Berrien, or did they bring you over here to Centerville?
I went to jail in Berrien, in Benton Harbor, really.
All right, I can't tell. And so did you post $300 bond?
Yes, I had my grandmother to come up and pay it.
All right. I'll apply $300 bond to your $225. You get the balance returned. All right, I'm sorry that all went down at work. You actually missed a couple hearings, and we did a show cause, and I can't tell what happened. I think the bond is somewhere between Berrien County and here. But I'll take it at your word that you posted it. All right, you're good to go, sir. You can get back about your business and get rested up for work tonight.
I have a question.
Yes?
Why, when I got arrested, I didn't get Mirandized. When I was in the tank, I didn't get arranged to see any judge or anything. I just got a bond.
Well, they don't have to Mirandize you unless they're going to ask you some questions. Miranda
I got asked some questions. I guess it was some type of altercation that went down at a hotel behind Walmart.
Well, I don't know anything about that, but regarding this case, I haven't used any of your statements against you. And so there's no legal prescription that you have to advise somebody of their Miranda rights once they're arrested. They normally do, but only if they're going to ask them questions. All right, I don't know anything about any fight over in Berrien County, but this matter's done, and you should be getting $75 of your money back. Are you still at 124 Concord?
Correct.
All right, you're good to go, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, now I had Mr. Holderman and I lost him. John, we got some struggles. We'll see whether Mr. Holderman comes back. We have September Knowles has failed to appear once again. And John, she has at least two prior OUILs. I don't know whether that should be transferred as a subsequent offense. It is file 211197OD, People versus September Ann Knowles. She was living on Millard Street. I had a landlord tenant case. Let's see if we can roust her up.
Your call cannot be continued.
Good morning. This is Judge Middleton calling from the bench for September Knowles.
September Knowles. This is John. I don't know who September Knowles is.
Okay, thanks. Is this 718-8816? All right, thank you.
I know that's not the right number, but they gave it to you. All right,
Okay,
bye-bye.
bye. All right, I'm going to issue a bench warrant for her arrest. This is the second time she's failed to appear. That phone number does not work. And I will do a $500 cash or surety bond. Hold 48 hours. I do not think she's absconded. I think she's just not being very responsible about this. She failed to appear on June 9th and it got rescheduled. And I don't know where she is, so we'll see if we can get her in the system. Also, Avery Zunick is charged once again with disorderly person, file 211203. I was sorry to see Mr. Zunick's got charged with this once again. He's failed to appear. We'll need to do a show cause first, John.
Okay.
Let me make sure he's not in jail for something.
According to the report, they thought he might be on something. If he is, there's a good chance he's in for something else.
He's not in custody. All right, it's hard to tell sometimes with him what's going on. He struggles. That leaves us with Mr. Dunson and Mr. Holderman. We'll address William Lyle Dunson. He had failed to appear once before. He's charged in file 211161 with no insurance and 62 with driving suspended. He missed his court date and they reset it and he failed to appear once again. We'll try him in a minute. Let's talk to Mr. Holderman. John, I think that finishes your obligations for our court. I have a sentence on Mr. Cap. He was supposed to be here at 9 o'clock. He pled. We had some difficulty on what he wanted to do. Then he called and said he didn't want to plead. I'm not sure what he wants to do, but if you check back in about 9, John, that would be helpful.
Okay, thanks.
All right, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Holderman.
Good morning.
We need to get your case back on track.
Yeah, I didn't.
All right, well, this is file 202602FY. It's a felony. You're charged with domestic violence, third offense. Your second offense, let me take a look at this. All those birds, sounds like you're in an aviary. Sounds like a nice spring morning. All right. You are charged with domestic violence, third offense upon Dustine Maxim, allegedly having occurred on November 21st of 2020. You're charged with resisting and obstructing a police officer. The first charge is a felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison. The second count is a felony punishable by up to 2 years in prison. Attorney Tim George was appointed to represent you, and this case has a tortured history. Can you still hear me, Mr. Holderman?
Yes, sir.
It happened way back in November. You got arrested in November. It was set for prelim. Attorney Marvin had been your attorney. So he was elected prosecutor. So they had to get a special prosecutor, which would be the Branch County prosecutor, Mr. Stempian. And it was set in front of Judge Pattison in January. And then they kept moving it. And then it got adjourned by Tim George to April, set for a pre-exam for May 11th of 21. And you were here.
I've not been able to contact Mr. George. He hasn't returned none of my calls.
Well, now they tell me that I should appoint Mr. Knopfsinger. So I can't tell what's going on. The thing kept getting adjourned, and you missed some dates.
I missed the 3rd. I didn't receive my letters until the 8th after I bonded out. I got arrested on the 3rd, the day that I missed the court date. I had no idea I had it. I have the letters right here stating that they didn't receive the post office till the 8th. And I even had
hold on to those.
I had to sign them and date them.
All right, well, hold them. On June 8th, doesn't do much good. I saw on the news this morning, the Postal Service wants to have first-class mail be 4 or 5 days as opposed to 2 or 3 days. I'm not sure what all that means. Anyway, they told me that I should appoint Attorney Knopfsinger as your lawyer. I'm not sure what happened to Mr. George. So you're saying you never had any communication with Tim George?
Oh, I've tried to call him at least once a week for a while now. And I've got phone records to show that. I've talked with his secretary. The last time I spoke with him was our last court date that got adjourned, and he told me he would let me know when my next court date was.
All right, well, I'm just going to follow the notes here. I'm going to reset the pre-exam for July 6th at 9 a.m. and the prelim for July 13th, 21 at 1. I'm not sure why they want me to appoint Mr. Knopfsinger, as Mr. George is already your attorney. But you're alleging that your lawyer neglected to give you notice, so that may make a conflict. I'll appoint Luke Knopfsinger. Mr. Holderman, you and I have known each other for a long time, and you've been known to step on a landmine here or two over the years, but you always show up. Yes. I've never known you to not appear for a court hearing.
Yeah,
so,
I'm a part of this community. You know, I'm doing big things with my company now, and I'm a part of this community in this area, and I plan to stay and be bigger and better. My company's growing.
All right, well, let me tell you, your new hearing is July 6th at 9 o'clock. That's the first day after the 5th of July holiday. Are you still at the Elm Street address?
No, that's not my address. I have a post office box.
All right, what is that?
Post office box 58.
Three Rivers?
Yes, sir.
Is your phone number in 1214?
Correct.
All right. All right, we'll send you the new notice to your P.O. box. You can contact Mr. Knopfsinger right there in Three Rivers. Sure. And I will see you on July 6th. I think that's my day. I think Judge Pattison's on vacation that week. So we'll see where this goes. It's been going on since last November. This case deserves to get some resolution to it. So yeah. I will see you on the 6th of July at 9 a.m. It will still be virtual at that point. Although, Mr. Holderman, we're coming to the point where we're going to open the courts up again, and people may have to get used to coming to the courthouse to take care of their business. Anyway, unless you hear otherwise, that hearing will be virtual.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
All right, you're good to go.
All right. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to bring in John Kapp. I'm going to attempt to call William Dunson. Keith, let me see if I can find him. Good morning, Mr. Kapp. We'll be there in just a minute.
I'm sorry, but the person you called has a voicemail box that has not been set up yet. Goodbye.
Goodbye. As you know, Keith, I have a very low success rate, but every once in a while, we actually find somebody and save a bunch of rigmarole. Anyway, Mr. Dunson failed to appear previously. He called and was given this date. We called on the 15th. We gave him the 16th. We reset this. I'm going to do a bench warrant. Try to call him without success. This is the third time he missed. Bond, $250 cash or surety per file. Hold 48 hours.
Nobody really takes us up on that 48-hour thing very often either, do they?
No, not hardly. Although Judge Stutzman claims, and I've had a few of these, that people watching his YouTube channel will call the people and say, hey, there's a warrant out, you better contact the court. I've had it happen more than once, so maybe somebody online will tell them, get over there and take care of your business. It's a nuisance to have to arrest people and go through all that process. All right, let's bring Mr. Kapp back, and maybe I can get John to rejoin me. Whoops.
I hear him. Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Kapp, I can hear you and see you.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I've asked Mr. Barnes to come back. This is file 211048. I don't know if the prosecutor wished to be here. We may need to let this tick for a few minutes here. You pled guilty to a driving suspended charge, and then after the hearing, you called and said you didn't want to plead.
Well, I was conflicted with the officer promised me that it wouldn't go through the state and they wouldn't additionally suspend my license another 5 years. I've been
let me let you talk to Mr. Stickley. He's the chief public defender.
Okay.
He's got a sort of film noir sitting there in his world headquarters here at the courthouse with the shadows. But I'm going to let you talk to him. And then either way, Mr. Kapp, is okay with me. If you want to proceed with a sentence today, that's fine. If you want to withdraw your plea and get a lawyer to help you with this, that's okay with me too. So I'm going to let you talk to him a little bit, okay?
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. All right. This is the part where I just sit here. That actually finishes the entire morning's worth of criminal matters. I have prelims this afternoon and have several scheduled. Don't yet know what's going. Judge Pattison has the pre-exam conferences this morning. He's very busy on the other side. We alternate week to week, and this is his week. Well, I see that Mr. Dunson has a possession of meth case set for today also. So let me email Judge Pattison.
We're ready when he comes in, Judge.
All right, thank you.
Is Mr. Barnes the attorney on this gentleman's case?
He's the city attorney.
Can I break out with him for a minute?
Yes, certainly. He just came back. John, I need to close that breakout room. Mr. Cap came back. He's talking with, I've talked with Mr. Stickley, and Mr. Stickley would like a chance to talk to you here. So I'm closing the room, and then I'll put you guys back in there. Keith, I sent an email to the other side inquiring as to whether Mr. Dunson appeared on his pre-exam conference. Maybe that's why he isn't here. He's busy taking care of felony matters. And I don't know where Miss Knowles is. And John, you can review that Knowles case to see whether you want to keep it as a city case or turn it into something else.
Yeah, if she's got 2 or 3 priors, county might want to do something with it.
All right, Mr. Cap is back. Mr. Cap, the Chief Public Defender, Mr. Stickley, wants to have an opportunity to talk to Mr. Barnes. So I'm going to put you in the waiting room. Stick around, don't go away, and I'm going to put them in a breakout room so they can talk. All right, I'll see you gentlemen in just a few minutes.
Thank you.
if I'm able to break out with that gentleman again real quick so I can explain a couple things, that would be great.
All right. Let me close the breakout room.
It won't take long.
Okay. Take as long as you need. All right, let's bring it back. All right, welcome back, Mr. Cap. Mr. Stickley, the public defender, would like an opportunity to speak to you again after talking to Mr. Barnes. So
Okay.
let's see where we want to go here.
Okay.
John, I've been looking to see if I had another number for Miss Knowles. She also had missed some other cases. She has a disorderly person case, and then she has a refusing PBT and some other stuff, but I can't find anything else with a phone number in it.
Let me look in mine and see if there's anything.
She needs to get an attorney and get her case on track rather than dinking around with all this. She posted a $500 bond.
I've got 269.
Just give me the last four numbers.
8816.
That's the number I called. And the guy said, I never heard of her.
Maybe he wishes he never heard of her.
I don't know. Like I said, she got arrested, posted a bond. I don't think she's absconded. I think she's just not doing real well. She got on 6/6 a driving suspended, refused preliminary breath test, and no proof of insurance. She failed to appear for that one also, and that's pending further action. Then she has your cases, which the officers chose to write under city ordinance rather than charge her as a third habitual offender. And that was the next, she got one on June 6th, and then on June 9th, she got this one. And in the meantime,
on that other driving suspended, was that a Three Rivers case, a city ordinance as well? It sounds familiar.
yes.
That, I think
So
that
then
was mine, and
then
she was a no-show for that too.
She was. She also got a disorderly on June 6th. So she got arrested on June 6th, and then she got arrested 3 days later on June 9th. She posted a significant bond, $500 cash, somebody did. And so let's see if I've got a phone number in a civil case.
Yeah, if she loses that $500 bond, that'll go a long way toward paying her fines and costs.
All right,
on these other cases.
here's a number that she gave me in April. Let's call this. No luck there either. Try that again. That doesn't work either. There's a contact number, what she listed that as. Carol, there's no contact. So, all right, there's nothing else to do for her except pick her up unless she contacts us within 48 hours.
Okay.
All right, we'll see what Mr. Cap wants to do. This is actually scheduled for a sentencing.
So driving suspended, Your Honor.
Yes, he pled, and then after the plea, he called and said he didn't want to plead.
Well, I've got no offers on it, other than the fact that it could be charged as a second or subsequent. I think he's got several
Yeah,
prior.
that was the plea offer, not charged as a second or subsequent offense. All right, Mr. Stickley is back. Let's bring Mr. Cap back. Takes 59 seconds unless he knows how to come back in, which often they don't. Here we go. All right, we return to People versus John William Cap. Spent quite a bit of time this morning. This is file 211048. We were here previously on June 1st. Defendant had no license in many years, pled to driving suspended. Mr. Barnes agreed not to charge it as a second or subsequent offense. Later that same morning, the defendant called back and said, well, he didn't really want to plead. He didn't know what to do next. So we left the matter set for sentencing this morning, which we're here now. So we've had extensive consultations between the defendant and the chief public defender, and the chief public defender and the city attorney. Mr. Stickley, what's the status here now?
Your Honor, at this time, we would just ask that we withdraw you with objections and ask that Mr. Cat be sentenced. We can make a brief statement before the court imposes sentence.
Go ahead.
Judge, there's no doubt that Mr. Cap's driving record is pretty ugly and speaks for itself. He accepts responsibility for what he did. He makes no bones about his past being quite horrendous on paper. That being said, he does want the court to know that he has been actively working on sobriety and the various issues that are reflected in that past report. Recently, having completed, I think, the Fast and Swift program, having over 36 months of sobriety leading up to this point. And he is trying to get everything back on track, but obviously it's no secret. It's not the easiest thing to do when you got to live your life and do things. But that being said, Mr. Cap realizes he can't drive, and every bump that goes in front of him results in a bigger bump at the end. So we would ask that the court consider, considering his openness and willingness to take responsibility, and ask that he not be incarcerated or anything, but that the court would consider limiting the penalties imposed to financial sanctions.
Mr. Barnes, you have anything to add?
No, Your Honor. I think his driving record speaks for itself.
Yes. Mr. Cap, as Mr. Stickley said, you can't drive anymore. You're stuck in this little town of Three Rivers where every time you drive, someone will see you. I'm going to give you a fine, and I'm going to give you time to pay it. And if you don't pay it, I'm going to do 5 days in jail. $125 fine, $75 crime victims' rights fee, $50 state minimum fee. $250 by July 31st or 5 days jail. You did do the Swift Insure program. You are in a better place today than you were several years ago. but you're up the creek as far as it's concerned to drive. There's way too much baggage, and this one's going to further compound it. Do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Can you pay that by July 31st?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Are you still at 612 South Main?
Correct.
All right. Any other questions?
No,
All right. You're good to go.
thanks.
All right, gentlemen, that was a long way to go for that, but thank you for taking your time to fully explore what he wanted to do. While you were in session, Keith, we made several other attempts to contact September Knowles, look for other phone numbers. I do not believe she's absconded. I believe she's just irresponsible, but she also missed some other court hearings. Mr. Barnes may confer with the prosecutor to see whether they're going to amend the charge to a felony. In the meantime, we've issued warrants for her arrest with 48-hour hold. All right, gentlemen, that finishes this portion of the morning. I don't know what else. If I get any polycoms, I'll let you know. Otherwise, we have several prelims set for this afternoon. Thank you for your help.
Yep. Have a good one, Judge.
Thank you.
All right.